We are glad to have Christian Andreas Schumann. I don't think I can pronounce your institution, but it was perfect. From Saxony, Germany, and is going to present a contribution entitled A Conceptual Approach to an AI-Supported Adaptive Study System for Individualized Higher Education Services. So in the context of the digital transformation, the targeted implementation of AI-based or AI-supported technologies in teaching and learning, as well as administration and service, holds considerable potential for organizational change and quality enhancement for higher education institutions. The applications that currently exist do not generally fit into a holistic concept. Therefore, they must be analyzed, systematized, and structured to generate a conceptual approach via an integrated architecture with adaptive services. And I think that adaptation is the key word over this conference. The paper explains the conceptual approach for the further development of AI-based education system at the university and presents the first results of planning, developments, and applications. Selected case studies related to the characteristics of paths for study orientation, study specialization, and for spatial learning profiles are also discussed. So we're looking forward to hearing especially about case studies and, models that we can look at inspirations. Thank you very much, and the floor is yours, Christian.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. I decided to have the following structure for the presentation. I need about 30-40 minutes in order to present some main ideas or some of the main ideas. And then we have the decision what we will do. Either you have questions and I can answer your questions. Otherwise, we can also make an open space. I prepared something for an open space activity in the second part so that we can also discuss in two groups what you want. And I will explain it later on. The idea to use AI in study systems and programs is very old. We started 30 years ago already with the first activities, and I look for some former lectures in knowledge management and knowledge engineering 30 years ago, and we had already neural networks included, machine learning, semantic networks, ontology, and all such things were part of the education in higher education, especially in my profession in business informatics, especially in knowledge engineering, knowledge management. But today we have another level of development, and we have to look for a general approach for the university, not only some specialists dealing with the problem. We have the situations that all people are faced with the challenges of AI in different relations. And what we have done in the past is quite clear literature review. We have some expert groups, focus groups, in order to analyze what we have to do in the university, not only from the side of the lecturers and professors, but also from the student side, but also other stakeholders like from industry or from our partners from science and research, administration as well. So, and that's why today I pick up only a small part. This is a conceptual approach for the topic, because it's a huge task for the next years to fulfill the requirements of the further development in AI application, especially to be adaptive in our study systems for the challenges of the future. The agenda for the presentation is to some words to my university. Then it's quite a short introduction. Then the question is how we penetrate AI in higher education. And the understanding is today, since about a couple of years, that we look for the processes in order to, not to the structures at first, we look to the processes fulfilling the requirements of the study programs, of the competence-based output of our universities and higher education. And what we have done is to have a good structure then. So you have different kinds of layers for the university system. And then we have some words with requirements of AI in higher education. I have 2 case studies with me, and then I give you an outlook. What are the next steps? We are a relatively small university with 3,000 students. We have demographic problems in our region. We have not enough skilled workers, not enough engineers, not enough people with academic degrees, because we are really highly industrialized region. We have, for instance, in Zwickau, one of the largest VW factories, and they are responsible for electromobility. They produce all electrical cars for Volkswagen, not only for Volkswagen, also for Seat and for the Skoda company. And they produce about 1,300 cars per day. This is a normal size of a VW factory with about 350,000 cars per year. And that's why we have a lot of supply industry in our region: automotive industry, automotive supply industry, machine building industry, informatics, and all such things is necessary for such a high complex product like a car or other high potential products. So, and that's why we have different kinds of courses, especially in technology, economics, but also languages and the so-called quality of life, including arts, special kinds of arts for our region. Some words to my person. I am responsible in my university for international affairs. So I work always in international relations, and I'm also dean for the largest faculty, dean of studies for the largest faculty in our university. And that's why all what I do in my conceptual work together with my colleagues, I can use immediately in the study programs. From my professional background, I come from business informatics, but I'm now director for 2 institutes since several years. I'm responsible for the Institute for Management and Information, and as well for the Center for the New Kinds of Education. Looking to the trends in IT, we have a source using the Society of German Engineers announcement from 2018. And you see the leading trends in IT from this point of view, and this is typical for our region in our development with our profile and structure. And the top position is artificial intelligence. Then the other comes, for instance, Industry 4.0, cyber physical systems. We have also smart systems included. We need special kinds of data sciences. In this slide, we have still the term big data, but we have now to switch to smart data, because we have to look for the right data, not only the huge volume, we have to look for the intelligent solution for storing data. Other organizations also point to the potential application of AI and application in education. I refer especially to UNESCO initiative on application of AI in education in 2019. Last year, there was a second event dealing with the AI use in higher education, or in education in general. Beijing was a place where the events took place. And then we have also the initiative of the EU and the member countries with a 2021 declaration. What should we do with emerging technologies, especially AI, in our continent? The penetration of AI in higher education means that we as universities are encouraged to study and assess the impact of emerging technologies. And emerging technology means especially also AI, smart systems, so that we have to look for different kind of opportunities to prepare graduates for changing the labor market, because the labor market is still very traditional. We have in the cooperation with the VW company, for instance, the feeling that they are still dominated by some old systems, especially information technology. It's very difficult to change the systems because they are very essential for the productivity of the whole company, not only in our regions or worldwide. And to change such an old system means you have a change in productivity for a certain time, and you have to avoid the decrease of productivity, and that's why it's very dangerous for a company to have a serious change in information technology. So they are not able to fulfill the changes very fast. They have to look for the existing infrastructure in information technologies, especially also in AI or in logistics and other things. So we have to the task, but we have also the task to establish AI in existing higher education systems. And what we do is look for a holistic approach. Holistic means that we not only have to create new study programs, new modules, we have also to use AI for the administration, for the orientation, information of students, information of and support of potential suppliers and employers and all such things around the university. And this means we have to look for a general approach to come to the right solution. Otherwise, we have only some points where we are active, and later on we are not able to connect the islands in a very good manner. So it's better to have at first a general look to the problem, and then to pick up and to have a plan how we can realize step by step the tasks. The focal points for the use of AI in higher education are strengthening AI competences in study and qualification programs. The problem is that we have sometimes better qualified students and lecturers and staff members. So we have we need special programs to qualify our staff members, not only in scientific areas. Scientific areas is normally relatively easy to make the change. Especially in administration, we have the problems because they are so far away from the problems of qualification in AI. And we have improved, in general, higher education using AI. And what we look for in the future is sustainability, networking, transfer between the different former focal points. The status quo is recently we have a lack between the level and in research and the normal application in the field. We have the development of new study programs and modules in AI. Step by step, we do a lot of things, and sometimes we simply have to change the former content of, I mentioned it, knowledge management, knowledge engineering, because it was always part of the higher education system, content systems. And we have the AI-based learning and examination environments. For instance, individualization of learning paths. We do it since about 20 years that we try to be more individual, to have more diversification of the activities, and so on. But what is the problem? We have no inclusion of the parallel higher education and administrative processes. This means we are only focused to the core system, our content systems, and our teaching processes. And the idea for the new approach is that we have such a holistic point of view, and we try to have a systemic approach to the problem. And that's why we do something what is not usually for a university. We bring all together. We bring together administration, management, faculty management, general management, and the specialists in the fields, and also specialists from other fields, for instance, from engineering or from management subjects. In the past, we already generated some processes dealing with development, and sorry for this picture. You can think you cannot not read it so in the best way, but it's the ideas behind this is that we start with a nursery and also it's a kindergarten in order to go step by step in a better situation with education. And what we have done is to build up such kinds of processes with different opportunities. And you see in the school time, it's really iteration, step by step, going up to the next level. But with the beginning of the vocational training or higher education in academic sense, then you have diverse opportunities for the further development, and we have to combine it. We have also, we know it's that we have sometimes we have periods of occupation in between, so that they make a bachelor degrees and have occupations, and they come back, make an MBA, and then they have again some sabbaticals, for instance, and then they come back and make the PhD and so on. And it's a part of the lifelong learning to organize these processes. And the main idea is that we have to support all such things with our opportunities coming from AI. Holistic approach means, in this sense, integration of services administration, in addition to the educational pathways, and the consideration of standardization as well individualization of educational modules. We had this morning a presentation dealing with standardization, and the result was that the individualization of the activities were limited, not in the right way. We have seen it in the presentation of my colleague from Vienna, that it's essential to have a balanced situation between standards and unification and individual development of the students, as well as the teachers. The goals are optimize the more efficient process management, not only in the faculties, but also in the administration of the university, as well in the cooperation. We have some public-private partnerships in study programs, and it's also essential to be able to combine these things in the further development, because I mentioned we have demographic problems. So we go more and more outside, not only in Germany, but also worldwide, in China or what else, in Mexico, where we are active in the framework of different kinds of education networks. We have to provide information in order to have a better user support and assistance. And we need suggestions for decisions and actions. My opinion is, and that's why we I have included this with my team, that we say we need the right information for the right people, then they need an orientation, and then they need help to make the right decision. And we have a lot of opportunities in the AI field in order to have a better services for information orientation and decision making, especially for the students. And so we have a large project supported. We were already active in this field with 6 professors, 6 chairs, as a core team with about 6, 7, 8 staff members dealing with the problem in our university. And we have now an additional project support, financial support from the Federal Ministry of Research and Education. And in order to give you an impression, we have three main layers. We have the studies management, then we have studies offers, study programs, and so on. And we go up to the down to the study modules or certificates. What else? The granulated content in the whole system. Now I will present you some ideas which kind of layers we see. At first, we have the service layer. It's a general layer because we understand it as a service-oriented system, offering interested parties, students, lecturers, staff, and so on, the whole community of stakeholders, the opportunity to use university products and services. This is our main task, to bring our services, our support to the different kind of groups of stakeholders. Then behind this, we have the assistant layer. The assistance layer is essential to provide the services offered by the university. So it's a background layer for the former service layer. And in between, then we have the orientation layer, supporting the university's information layer and its learning path layer. So we need an orientation to find out the right information, to find out the right learning opportunities for the students, but also maybe for the employers, that they can see what is possible in our university, so they can make their impact to our further development of study programs and study contents. Then we have the information layer, providing information for students and those interested in studying with regard to the courses of study and the course of content offered by the university. And then we come to an interactive dialogue with our students and interested persons. And in this case, we can, for instance, use the AI application that we use, for instance, machine learning systems in order to find out what are the reactions, what are the behavior of the students or an interested person in such a situation. Then we have the learning path layer. We started already 20 years ago to look for individualization of learning pathways. And in this time, we come to more modules. We have small modules, and students could decide inside of a framework of semantic network, where we have different kind of knowledge nodes included and connected, what is the best way for them to learn. And again, in relation to the presentation this morning, my colleague from Vienna started with one of the settings was constructivism. But in our understanding, we have more the idea of connectivism, so that we say we learn in a connected world, in a network world. Siemens theory from about 2005, connectivism. And in this relation, we need a special support for the learners to find the right way in the connected world, in the connected modules, connected contents. So, and the next, we have back to only one example. We have a strong opportunity to train students as well employees in SAP systems. One of my colleagues is very interested to find out what is the best way to train in an efficient way in a short time with the best success people in SAP applications. So we do it for Volkswagen company as well. Other companies, small and medium-sized companies in our region and or in Germany in general. And we do this for our students and full-time students as well as part-time students or distance education students. And behind this, we need the so-called module layer, where we have the content as small modules, and the modules can be combined or can be connected, or the contents can be connected by semantic networks. And because we come from business informatics, we have a lot of experiences using semantic networks in augmented reality, virtual reality. So it's for us, semantic networks are tools or methods we use every day in different kinds of applications. And the last point of view is then the learning unit layer, to provide students with the content of the learning units inside of the modules, and to find the learning progress in the right way, and to have some feedback from the system, and to suggest suitable or supplementary teaching materials so that they can find the ideas. And we have some examples from the past, especially media competences and media project development. You go inside the system, have a special term, look for the term, and then you can look what is around the topic. And then you have the relations to the next step. And so you can go through the system and have a right orientation to find out what is related, which kinds of knowledge nodes and knowledge points are related, so that you have only, it's a question of time. If you have 1 week time to learn, then you have more time. You can make to learn the content in the traditional way. But if you, in a workplace situation, you have only 1 hour or 2 hours time, especially for distance education students, you have maybe during the day a break of 2 hours, and they will do something in learning, and they simply go to a special term or 2 terms, and they go around, and after 1 hour they have to switch back to the job. What is essential for the layers and the usage of AI in our university or in the university? We can use it in different ways. Some points I already mentioned. We can use it for content within study modules. We have, for instance, a special study program for AI by our colleagues from the mathematicians side. And we have special AI modules in management programs as well in engineering programs. We can use it. We can use AI for learning support. It's a learning support tool with a learning process. And we had in another project already some years ago the first attempts to use IBM systems from the AI area. But now we have more money, we have more time and more stuff to be serious in this way, active for solving our problems with AI in our university. Then we have different kinds of scientific methods within research projects and also related to AI. And what is new, what's really new, and it's not so easy to realize it because of the education of the staff, is to use AI in administration. We have the general university administration, we have the student administration, and we have the students' recruitment processes, and we have also the alumni questions later on. AI support within administration processes. We have the general administration and different kind of layers. You can read it. We have a student administration. We have a student recruitment. These 3 main points as an example. And you see we have different kinds of layers included. And so we have a matrix organization in order to come in the field, not only from one direction, from different kinds of direction, different kinds of point of view, different layers, to be really omnipresent have omnipresence in the field. Examples are for the general administration of personnel matters, administration of lecture situations. Then we have in student administration AI-based decision support for which kind of modules they have to choose for the further qualification, to have the right competences in the job. Then in the students' recruitment, we need decisions for study programs to be chosen. And some ideas what could be the possible AI support, semantic linking of distributed information or content, knowledge, what else? A rule-based, deep learning-based decision support system, and a system, a system that provides speech recognition and language processing, because we have also a faculty for intercultural management and business administration and languages. So in the background, we have the semantic or the networks, and a simple presentation of what happens with such kind of networks is that we have the nodes connected together, and then we have the physical point for activities. We have to develop the right human-machine interfaces, HMI. That's a normal thing in applied informatics, to have such interfaces for the users. And then we have the information sources and the information source connection. And we have three examples. We have the opportunity to have an example for information path. We have the study orientation, and we have the individual study part. So we have then the decision what is essential, and it should be also adaptive and flexible, so that the students can change during the study programs the way if it's necessary. We have a lot of different kinds of profiles, maybe 100 different kinds of profiles in our university and different faculties. We can collect it, but the problem is to decide the right combination for the students, and we have to do it in relation to the future job, not what is our intention that of the professors, so what they think what is the best way. We have to look for the further profile of the students when they go to the job, in order to fulfill the requirements of the job description the best way. Requirements for AI in higher education: we have a large amount of qualitatively high quality and trustworthy data, many of data, big data. So I mentioned we have to switch over to smart data in order to avoid data waste. And we need a special kind of methods to generate the right data and to generate new insights by this data. We have to look for the right computer performance, because it's not so easy to support it by the right infrastructure. And we have, last but not least, the humans using AI tools and resulting efficiently in the right ethic ways. Also questions what we have to remember. We have always a special ratio of ethics and AI applications. For instance, how we can control the system. I was in a special group for developing new rules for the German engineers by the Society of Association for German Engineers. Some people coming from the applied philosophy, and other come from the AI application part. And then we have to discuss what we have to do with the new opportunities of AI, smart system, automated systems, because sometimes you are not able to control the system, because it is for you in AI, some part of AI is a black box. So and then later on you are responsible as an engineer or manager for what the system was doing. And it's not possible. We have to find the right rules for the ethical behavior for the people in such a situation. It's not so easy. Especially in using neural networks, this is one of the main problems, main challenges in this field. So we have to lead to support in the sub-areas, action, perception, and learning. So the three main topics, and we have different kinds of activities included in the three main point of view. So experience from past projects, we have, I mentioned, semantic networking is not a problem for us. Modularization was already done, data analytics, special learning analytics, social network analytics we have already done in different kinds of projects in order to find out what are the multipliers in the systems. All such things we have already realized in the past, and we use the knowledge or the experiences for the further development. The first case study, what I intend to mention, is decision support for individual curricula. We are started already this project to find out what is the right individual curricula. So you see one example for our prototype rule-based system. And the second case study is individual learning paths and knowledge management. This means we need a structured pathway through the system. We have to control it. We have to support it, especially individual learning. And we have some conditions for limitation or to have the right rules for the decisions. Then the self-assessments. We have a career service center and do it since a couple of years already. Self-assessment. This is a normal part of our training programs. But now we have to look for the opportunities of AI to come to better solutions in this field in order to learn more about the gaps in this development. And then the results of assessments can be used for recommended targeted learning units, for instance, video, practice, and exercises, and so on. And last but not least, the motivation is essential. We can increase the motivation by defining and awarding badges. So the next steps, we look for the decision support systems, extension of the decision support with additional parameters to be processed, the conversion of the rule-based system into a self-learning system, and individual learning paths mentioned, implementation of further digital learning resources, evaluation of the system, and improvement based on other feedback. And what we do as a next in my sub-project is focused on, I mentioned it, information orientation and decision making. And what we do as a next step is quite clear. We are in a scientific organization. We make empirical study with different groups of stakeholders. I think we will use, it's our recent status that we will use so-called focus groups with experts from the different kind of groups of stakeholders in order to find out what is the main thing what we have to do in order to come to the right solution. And then we can start next year with implementation or development and implementation of the system step by step. And so our main objective is to have such a system in lifelong learning. On the one hand side, the students with their activities, on the other hand, then after the study, finishing the studies and the alumni situation, so that we have three parts: pre-study programs or pre-study activities, study programs, and then post-study activities. Because we are also active in the further education as university. additional degrees, further education for employees from our companies, and so on. So, and the main target is then to establish a student lifelong life cycle management system. Therefore, we need a questionnaire, we need the development of guiding questions, target groups. I mentioned it already. We will go step by step with this development in the next weeks and months. So that's it from the content side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Let's see questions. Any question there?
Yeah, essentially, I have two questions. The first one is, in your movement toward individualization and so forth, how do you deal with the European standards for privacy and, you know, the GDPR and all of that stuff? You know, it's, I've been reading through anonymization protocol and then looking at individualization as a boy, they're sure at odds with one another.
Yes. We have to have a two-way strategy. One is to ask for commitment between the individual persons to support our activities. The first opportunity is simply to sign a commitment. And the second one is that we have to look for to avoid that we use personal data in the further activities, so that we have we use only the general data for the diagnostic systems and so on.
Yeah, it's a tightrope sometimes.
Mm.
And the other question, real quick, is the purpose of this whole initiative to foster more self-service and more? Are you moving toward more of a virtual university or?
I think we are already on the way to the virtual university, because as we divided the study programs in our faculty in two parts. One part is so-called bread and butter education, face-to-face and constructivistic teaching and training. And the other part is online studies, distance education studies, and also hybrid studies. We are now changed to more hybrid activities. But it's not so easy, because to have the right infrastructure for a hybrid situation is not so. It's expensive. So we go step by step in this hybrid infrastructure.
Look how hard it was to implement for this conference.
Yeah. And we have already virtual and augmented reality activities in research, so we know what we have to do, but it's sometimes not so easy to have the transformation to the university because of the financing, simply.
Yeah.
How much of your AI software development platform is built in-house and purpose-built, and how much of it is partnered with vendors, developers, or purchased?
As we are a University of Applied Sciences, so we have a lot of industrial contacts. It's a normal thing that we have everyday contact to companies, especially from information technology, AI application, all such things. It's a normal thing for us. Only my group, we are 3 professors for business informatics. We have a volume of so-called industrial and third-party support of 2 up to 3 million per year. And we can only realize it on the basis of a good contacts to industry, not only in our regional, in a national sense or in a European sense, and also in China or else we try to develop the right contacts to the industry and to the developers, to the research institutions. One of main contacts is, or main contracts is the cooperation with the Fraunhofer Institute in Leipzig. It's the Fraunhofer Center for International Management and Knowledge Economy. It's really one of the main topics in this field to have such kinds of corporations. But we have also one group with normally four professors for business informatics. We have an informatic group with about 12 professors and 2 up to 3, 4 professors are specialized in AI. So we have enough internal staff members and professors dealing with the problem.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Christian. Thank you for your contribution. There's another one.
Thank you for the interesting presentation. I asked myself, which kind of specific data, just a sample, do you need to create such an individual pathway or such a individual insight into the study curricula of a student? What kind of data do you need? It's smart data. We talked about it yesterday.
Okay, I can do it in a simple way that I say we are in a conceptual approach. But we have some experiences from the past. For instance, we use SCORM as standards with a special data included in the files so that we know what is behind the content so that we can use it for the to give more information about the content inside of the data set and so on. And this experience we use now for the next step to apply artificial intelligence.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we had all the questions. So thank you, Christian, again. And,
thank you.
We'll have the chance to talk more over the dinner or tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you.